Washington, Donald Trump's last gasp scheme to overturn democracy so he could remain in power endangered the life of Mike Pence and his family as Trump's social media attack on the vice president further inflamed the mob that had already breached the Capitol, the House January 6 committee began detailing Thursday. As it has in the other two hearings in the past week, the panel is sharing testimony from Trump's own inner circle to show how damning Trump's actions were in the weeks leading up to the Capitol assault and on that day itself. On Thursday, it is coming from Greg Jacob, the former counsel to Pence at the White House who is testifying in person, and from former Pence Chief of Staff Mark Short, who provided videotaped testimony. Also appearing in person is J. Michael Luttig, the retired federal appellate judge who, at the request of Pence, helped him with a statement that was released as Trump was still speaking at his pre-insurrection rally near the White House on January 6. Integral to Trump's plan were the slates of fake, pro-Trump electors that Trump's campaign began organizing not long after his loss was confirmed. These groups met in 7 states won by Joe Biden on December 14, 2020, the day of the Electoral College vote, to send fraudulent Trump ballots to Washington, D.C. The strategy was for Pence, having before him competing slates of electors from these states, to invalidate all of them, leaving Trump with a majority of electoral votes from the remaining states, which would let Pence award Trump a second term. Alternatively, Pence could send the ballots back to the states, where GOP-controlled legislatures would override the popular votes in those states and declare Trump the winner. Pence, however, refused to go along with the scheme, and in the days leading up to January 6 enlisted the help of Luttig, a longtime icon in conservative legal circles who was considered for the U.S. Supreme Court by former President George W. Bush. Luttig on January 5 posted a series of tweets explaining why Pence had no authority to do what Trump was demanding. The Constitution does not empower the Vice President to alter in any way the votes that have been cast, either by rejecting certain of them or otherwise, Luttig wrote. Pence's team then cited that Twitter thread in the letter he released to Congress and the public at the start of the certification ceremony on January 6. After Trump's riled-up supporters had marched to the Capitol at his request and the president learned Pence had been removed from the Senate chamber for his own safety, Trump spurred the rioters further with a tweet declaring that Pence didn't have the courage to overturn Trump's loss. The bipartisan committee is nearly halfway through a series of public hearings intended to lay out Trump's role in stoking anger among his millions of followers following his election loss and then inviting them to Washington, D.C., for the express purpose of intimidating Pence and lawmakers into letting him remain in power anyway. Trump, despite losing the election by 7 million votes nationally and 306 to 232 in the Electoral College, became the first president in more than 2 centuries of elections to refuse to hand over power peacefully. He spurred on the January 6 Capitol riot, a last-ditch attempt to remain in office, which killed 5, including 1 police officer, injured another 140 officers and led to 4 police suicides. Nevertheless, Trump remains the dominant figure in the Republican Party and is openly speaking about running for the presidency again in 2024.